harder. I think Selfmade has shown so far that he's very capable of doing so, but even in yesterday's loss with Rogue, Kikis in that game looked like he actually was trying to be as proactive as he could be in a losing game, and we'll see maybe if they can find themselves in a slightly better scenario going into this one. Maybe Kikis will be the hard carry for them.
Maybe. Have to wait and see. I'm always surprised by the Cassiopeia ban. I know she's really strong, I know she's really powerful, but she has a 0% win rate in the LEC. Pick ban in about 98% of games, and still has yet to win one in the 4 that she was played. So, yes, I understand it, but it always feels a bit odd.
So this is really interesting draft so far, because we're going to have Urgot, Akali. Teams have kind of tapered off of the old Aatrox and oh my goodness! All right, so that does leave Urgot and Akali open.
What was that noise?
Ooh, I'm shocked. I mean, tickled.
Tickled pink by the Lucian pick.
See, this is something which is in the current patch. You're expecting to play against something OP, especially you know, if you don't have the first pick. But this is, you know, I'm a little bit surprised with how this one's going down from SK side, because Crownshot has been, in my opinion, one of the weaker links on this team.
Okay.
So there is an argument for wanting to secure a favorable matchup for him early, but at the same time, I would prefer to see them put a bit more priority picks in other lanes and let them do the heavy lifting.
Well, I think you can still get so many power picks in other lanes, right? Because you're still going to get either Lissandra, Urgot, or the Akali. You get both of them because of the way the drafts worked anyway. So you get Lissandra and Urgot. Akali goes over to the side of Rogue alongside that Thresh, and they are going to pick the Aatrox to round it out.
Aatrox has fallen a bit out of favor recently, but still a very powerful pick on this patch. There was one point where he was like, you know, first pick worthy. Teams were picking him a lot, but recently we haven't seen him so much this week, but we'll see that on the side of Rogue this game.
We will. Looking at what we have left in terms of picks for the teams, you're looking at junglers, support on the side of SK, and then probably an AD carry and jungler for Rogue. Of course, maybe there's a super flex that I don't know about, you know, put the Aatrox down towards that bot lane, or can jungle, obviously.
Yeah, he can go in the jungle. That one wouldn't be too unfamiliar. But I would be, I mean, as you're seeing here, you're banning away the AD carries from SK because that's the one you know hasn't been picked yet. And similarly for Rogue as well. The Morgana takeaway is not too surprising when you already have picked that Thresh, because the Black Shield can be very, it can block a lot of your plays, and you just want to be able to, when you land that hook, to be able to engage onto it and for it to really mean something.
I mean, there's a lot of support bans coming out in that, like the first phase you got Borman and the Alisson, then you get the Morgana as well. You're looking down towards things like maybe the Tarm, Kench, as a possibility for SK. Really, you're trying to get rid of anything powerful to team up with the Lucian, and that's an Ashe blocking for Heaq. Now I remember him playing that last year, but I don't think we've seen him play it this year at all.
Yeah, the Ashe is an interesting one here. This, to me, sounds like they want Heaq to be more of a supporty role, and they want him to be able to play towards his team and to get those initiations, but not necessarily be the primary carry. And to be honest, when you've already got that Ashe and that Aatrox, especially if they are the solo laners and the Aatrox doesn't flex into the jungle, you have very strong carries already. And if you pair that with a Thresh, you've got so much pick on your squad, you've got so much damage there as well. I actually really like what Rogue has done so far and the way they're allocating resources to playing towards their strengths in the draft.
So Ashe is something we've seen a little bit in the LCK and the LMS, and also in Vietnam and Turkey. Like the whole power of it is the pick potential, of course, as you said, with the arrow. So I'm very intrigued to see it locked in. Then we have the Pyke and the Gragas for the side of SK. So Selfmade will be piloting Gragas in the jungle. And final pick here for Rogue. It looks like Kikis is going towards the Nocturne for himself.
Yeah, it's going to be locked in as well. So Gragas Nocturne is going to be the jungle matchup. Even though Gragas is not a particularly carry-orientated jungler, the way that Selfmade plays, he's still very much able to carry on this jungle pick, and it still does have a lot of early game impact. So Selfmade is going to be one we're going to be taking a look at in the pre-6 stage, and then obviously as soon as Kikis unlocks his Paranoia, again, you can look to see him make those plays across the map. I would actually like to see them target Crownshot in the bot side. I think the way that Rogue has done these bans here, you mentioned loads of support bans and that Cassiopeia ban, which often gets put into the bot lane. To me, this says that we want to attack you in the bot side of the map, and the supports kind of carry the lane phase.
Yeah.
So we'll get rid of the supports we don't want to play against, and we'll make that the weak point that we can then execute upon.
definitely makes a lot of sense. Crownshot has been one of the weaker players on the side of SK. Do like the teaming up of Lucian with a Pyke, though. Gives you a little bit more aggression. Pyke can get close-ish to the Ashe, but the problem always is if you try and speed in towards her with the Ghost Water dive, she just volleys you and you get slowed immediately. So actually,
and there's always a lantern
exactly
as a backup if you want that. So yeah, there's definitely, for me, huge pick coming out of Rogue. They're going to want to fire that Enchanted Crystal Arrow, the Paranoia combined, as well as the hook from Thresh. There's a lot of pick coming through in SK. If they fall behind in this game and they lose control of the map and their vision falls down, it's going to be extremely hard for them to play League of Legends, because Rogue is just going to be waiting around every single corner with amazing pick tools. Make it very hard for SK to survive on the Rift.
So then what are SK looking to do? What's their win condition? Because we talked about how, you know, you've got so much pick on the side of Rogue. What are SK doing as we get on into the game?
Well, SK always traditionally very good at playing through the top side. There's a bit of a joke where Selfmade, if he's not ganking top lane, then he's not connected to the game. And he loves sitting in that top lane with Werlyb, and he has picked that Urgot. And Werlyb is a player where I think he's been a bit unreliable, but he has some pretty high highs, and I still have confidence in him to be able to carry if you set him up to do so. And this champion pick with this Urgot, especially the Urgot Aatrox matchup, which is quite, I don't want to say old school. I'm going to say old school as far as like current year goes, right?
Yes.
We always used to see...
Old school in 2019.
Yeah.
Urgot Aatrox in 2019?
We always saw that.
Oh my god.
Constantly, 24/7. That's what we were seeing. We saw a lot of worlds as well. And it is one of those lanes that can kind of go either way. Who you think wins the lane depends on just your personal opinion of the matchup, but it's a lot easier to play the Urgot and a lot easier to set him up for the ganks as well if you are playing an aggressive jungler like Gragas can be.
Yeah, we want to see Selfmade impacting the map in the first few levels, up to level 6. Gragas, of course, so good at ganking because of the body slam, and he has the lanes to set him up for success. But early doors, nothing really going to be going on here. Looks like Nocturne is going to be starting top side, Kikis will get that, and Gragas will be starting bottom side. So kind of mirrored jungles here, both going for their red buff.
Yeah, and if Selfmade does start the bot side, then he'll be working his way up, and that's
the
probably...
top lane, you say?
That's probably where we'll see the first gank happen, or at least an attempt at the first gank. Or maybe he'll do that thing where you full clear the bot side, recall, get your Predator boots, and then go top side. Either way, that's... probably has to be careful, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
I do actually remember watching, as the jungler's path here, a jungle guide from a Mr. Foxdrop.
Sounds great.
It was the super clear jungle guide. I think it was patch 9.1 on your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And you did a very interesting clear. And we don't really see like LEC level junglers do that full clear in the same way. Why do we see LEC junglers kind of do these slower clears when they could be optimizing their jungle experience?
Well, the thing is that what I target my stuff for is obviously solo queue stuff, and it's very greedy. Like, you do the first bot side buff, and then you go top side, take that crab, and then just go all the way down the jungle and pick everything up. Now, that doesn't work when your lanes, you're playing around your lanes and you're playing around power spikes or like wave positions and stuff like that, and you have that communication going down. It's good if you're greedy and all you care about is yourself. Okay. So LEC players generally tend to be slightly better team players than I am in my solo queue games. But this is sort of like a similar thing where Selfmade is still going to be able to secure that top side crab, and if he wants to go for a farming clear, he can do so. We see a lot more of the Gragas being that early game jungler, professional player at least. But Kikis already has that one camp advantage on him, just a little bit faster. Pings are coming down that bot side though.
I think he's going to go and try and invade for the Krugs because he knows that Selfmade didn't do it when he was only level 2 because he contested those Razor Beaks. So the good thing for Kikis is by taking these away, he actually gets more experience out of the jungle just generally, can build up towards that level 6 even quicker. With the jungle changes on 9.2, we see junglers tend to hit level 6 between sort of the 7 and 9 minute mark, depending on how speedily they've been able to jungle. I think last week actually Kikis was one of the slowest, hitting at 9.5 minutes in their game against Vitality, but he was heavily counter-jungled in that game.
And which is funny because Kikis is, in my eyes, the counter-jungler king in the LEC. He did that a lot when he was playing on Vitality at the end of the summer split last year, which took him into Worlds off of that playstyle as well. I think he had something like 5 MVP points in about 4 games. Yeah. So he was definitely hard carrying Vitality through his playstyle. It's something where if you can pick up little advantages like he did with that bot side invade on the Krugs, Selfmade now is about to go to that bot side and is going to check it. Not only is he going to get seen on the vision, but he's not going to have anything there.
Oh, Hawkshot spots him out as well, so...
Doubly spotted out.
Yeah. They know exactly where Selfmade is. They know he's only level 3. They know that Kikis has that level advantage. Also, an advantage for Pirean in the mid lane. He's got teleport over the cleanse of the Akali. Lissandra, obviously a good matchup into the Akali because you can just lock her down. And having the teleport means he gets back to lane even quicker. Double Dark Seal for the extra healing and for the stacks that you can build if you manage to make some of these picks.
And patch 9.2, which is what we are playing on currently, there's big fat letters in the bottom left of your screen. Akali is still pretty good at playing under tower and from behind because she still has the healing in her Q. Obviously that's been taken away on the live patch that we're playing home. But as far as it goes, this matchup here, again, difficult for Akali, but she's not too worried about being in this spot.
So that's why it's difficult for Akali, because if you jump in and just get locked up with the Ring of Frost, and you see even though Sencux thought he was taking an advantageous trade there, actually kind of lost out on it. And Pirean will look to push in this wave and then get that first turret placing. Selfmade hasn't had as much early ganking as perhaps we would have liked him to, but he's going to steal away these Razor Beaks, which is strong because it delays Kikis to 6. Kikis on the Krugs, still only level 5. I believe he's just about to finish those as well and won't be level 6 off them.
No, we'll see whether Selfmade decides to predator his way up top, but we highlighted this jungle matchup in the draft about how it's very important that these guys carry their team and get going, and they're almost identical in stats.
Yeah.
Like they are very similar players. And considering their teams aren't having the best performances so far, for the junglers to stand out really shows the caliber of these players.
Oh, they actually forced him away from the Scuttle Crab there. Dreams and Selfmade were doing it, but Wadid coming up, and the fact that Heaq could have come up from that bottom lane means that Kikis gets it. There's a bunch of experience in his back pocket as well. I believe he is about halfway towards that level 6, which is such a strong point for Rogue. But let's talk about some of the other lanes. Let's talk about some of the other stuff going on the map. Where would you like to focus? It seems pretty even across the board.
Yeah, I think we've exhausted everything to do with the jungle.
Yeah,
we went a little bit.
It's great when you have someone who knows so much about the jungle on, because we can talk about those intricacies, and we can talk about jungle pathing and why you do a certain path and why you do something.
I mean, I think it's fair because as far as the optics of this game goes, it is extremely relevant. But we can take a look at this bot side instead, because this is one where I honestly think both of these teams, the bot lanes has been kind of the weakness of both of them. You know, Crownshot and Heaq haven't really been able to perform in the ways that perhaps people were expecting, or being a bit of a weak link for these teams. And we did have both of these drafts were very kind of bot lane focused, with Rogue banning away a lot of supports, and obviously SK first picking this Lucian. So they're trying to kind of just like cover the bot lanes a little bit here. And you're seeing right now that Lucian actually doesn't have any really significant lead over the Ashe, which is really why you picked this champion. This champion is so strong and is very often banned. If I'm not mistaken, he's one of the 100% present champions in the LEC. He's either
one of two.
One of two. He's either always picked or banned. For good reason.
Yeah.
He's a very strong champion, and this lane phase is where he really shines. Not been able to do too much just yet if you are a Rogue fan, especially considering Ashe is very utility focused with that Enchanted Crystal Arrow, then this is a good spot for you.
I'm really waiting for that level 6 from Rogue. You've got Paranoia, Crystal Arrow, you've got the Thresh jumping in there as well, Sencux with the perfect execution on the Akali. On the other side though, SK have just as many tools at their disposal. Frozen Tomb, the explosive cast, the Fear Beyond Death coming out from Werlyb, and Selfmade is setting up around this mid lane. Dream's trying to clear out some vision as well, but Wadid should be able to come up. Selfmade looking with a jump across the board. There's the Glacial Path, the knockback. Sencux flashes and cleanses. And the explosive cast does not connect.
Good double summoner burn from SK. The downside is they use both of their ultimates to do it. Both Gragas and Lissandra have their ults down, so it's hard to do a return gank, at least in the immediate future. We'll have to wait a little bit for those ultimates to come back up. And speaking of ultis, Kikis is now sitting on his Paranoia, and we all know Nocturne ulti is a big one, very important one. We'll see where he decides to go with this first ult, because he's kind of got a pick of the litter here where he wants to go. Might decide just to do something in this bot side.
You could do something in the bot side. Could go for the Mountain Drake, of course, as you know. There's no explosive cast on SK. While he does this, let's have a quick look at the first sort of items that are being built. Skirmishes Saber on Selfmade. He's going towards the Runic Echoes. We've got the Hextech Revolver and enough rings to cosplay as Sonic from Pirean with those Dark Seals. You've got the Vampiric Scepter. Crownshot, expect him to go towards the Blade of the Ruin King. Same, it seems, on Heaq. Like, usually you see Blade of the Ruin King on the Ashe.
Yeah, you see that kind of on hit, well not strictly on hit, you're not going to get a Wit Cinder or anything like that, but yeah, we don't go for the full crit build on Ashe, at least on this patch. While crit items are a little bit unloved, You can just go for the Blader and King, perhaps going into the Hurricane as well, following that, but not the focus of the build, at least not in the early game for Heaq. And to be honest, what I like about Ashe is that the optimization of your itemization is less important, because really you've picked this champion for one ability, and that's
Hawkshot.
Not quite.
The arrow. It's the ultimate,
arrow. Yeah. And that's, you know, so it's cool. Like with Heaq, as far as it goes, like if he doesn't hit these power spikes, he doesn't really care so much. You know, if he does fall a little bit behind, it's really not the end of the world. Setting road up for success does not rely on Heaq being having any specific build or being fed in any way.
That's probably a good thing, considering his track record across the course of the split. Crownshot, as we've said, has struggled a little bit as well, but pretty even early game between these two teams. 10 minutes in, haven't seen a Paranoia come out, haven't seen an effective gank from Selfmade. You know, burnt a couple of summoners on Sencux, so maybe we'll see a repeat gank around there. It looks like SK are focusing a lot of their vision around the top side of the map.
Maybe see the first one though, yeah.
Here we go, Paranoia comes in. Werlyb looking for the flash away, uses the disdain into flash, and Prophet pops the ult as well, but not going to be able to get anything out of that.
To me, that felt like a little bit of miscommunication from the Rogue side there, because Prophet was so far away when Kikis decided to jump in. It felt like Kikis saw his window and just went for it. But Prophet wasn't really in position, and Werlyb, you know, this wouldn't be the first time that he got caught out of position if he had died there. I think having a little bit more patience may have paid off, but we do still see the flash going down from SK. Still lost that one.
Looks like it's going to be a lane swap here from SK, bringing Crownshot up towards the top side. As I was about to say before we saw that Paranoia, they've got total river control. Control ward here, control ward just a little bit further down as well. And maybe they think they just want to open up the map by getting the Rift Herald early on.
Rogue might be a little bit suspicious of this one when Crownshot and Dreams
no one shows up bot lane.
Yeah, no one's bot lane. And of course when Crownshot then shows top lane as well. This should be a free herald going down to the side of SK. So now it is a bit of a race here. Rogue are going to be breaking down these plates right here. Plates are extremely valuable, guys, in the current patch. One plate is worth the same as or more as first blood tower.
Ooh.
So it's 160 gold to 150. Getting this herald. Oh, that's Predator plus herald there. Oh, they're looking to do something spicy here.
He's going to run really quickly
no time.
and then use the Herald up towards the top side. Actually, Herald really good, of course. I believe it does true damage to towers, and so even if you've got Bulwark stacks on it, because you've taken down the plates, the Herald will get it. That's first tower down. All the stacks across as well, and you can see Heaq and Wadid actually struggling in the bottom lane to take it. Those stacks still building up on that tower. Heaq eventually will take the tower, but the Rift Herald is going to keep pushing in the top lane, and SK will try and keep getting as much out of this as possible. Selfmade has the flank. Prophet, of course, still no ultimate on him, and Heaq just about takes the tower. Here we are. Follow the arrow. The one ability that you pick Ashe for. It's going a long range from downtown. Heaq looking for the connection. It lands! And it does nothing. Oh, the hook! The teleport, though! In behind them. That might be dangerous. That is not the best position to teleport into, but Pirean forces Kikis away. Wadid has to flash as well. Pirean with a knockback. Suppression eaten up. Wadid goes down. 12 minutes in the game, we have first blood, and SK come out massively on top.
What a huge tempo play by SK there with that lane swap. Securing the Herald got them 2 towers, plus that first blood. This game was a bit of a... not much was happening.
Yeah.
Nothing was going on here. We were 10 minutes into the game. It was looking pretty standard, and then suddenly, bam, SK just like, you know what, lads, let's
do something.
You fancy doing something? All right, nice. Let's secure ourselves a 1.5k gold lead and get 2 towers. How does that sound?
The latest first blood of LEC Spring.
Really?
So, yeah, it's pretty impressive. And the arrow does connect, and maybe they think they can do a little bit too much because it hits down from long range. You know, Selfmade gets caught out. The hook then hits from Wadid as well. But really, as soon as the teleport comes in, Rogue needs to be running away.
Yeah, and it is a bit of a bait here with the Heaq Ashe ulti, but it's one of those things where Selfmade is very squishy at this point. And if you can catch him out, maybe you can blow him up. But yeah, that TP here from Lissandra really did just kind of put the nail in the coffin for Rogue in that first blood. But that's the downside. No, Sencux doesn't have TP. He's had to pick the cleanse because he's playing versus Lissandra, whereas Lissandra doesn't have to take that, doesn't have to make any compromises of running into this champion. So SK will have that advantage right now into the game. Almost just over... well, okay, bang 2K gold.
2,000 gold at the moment. Interesting to see the combination of executions there as well. We saw the death from below actually not connecting because the Fear Beyond Death had pulled Wadid out of position. But now SK just want to set up vision around the Cloud Dragon. Not the most impactful Drake, but still one that you want to have under your belt if you can get it. I mean, extra movement speed is extra movement speed. Right?
I really like it on Urgot as well. Like a champion like that, he has like a semi-gap closer, but it's like the slowest gap closer in the world.
Rakan would like to talk to you.
I was gonna say, I knew you were gonna bring that one up. Still salty, mate. It's fine.
I'm so salty.
He needed to go. I'm afraid he needed to go. But if you have that Cloud Dragon, someone like Urgot can just run rings around.
I mean, this is interesting though, because SK set up the vision and Rogue just said, okay, we'll walk in, take it straight away. It felt like SK should have been in a good position to fight that one, but obviously decided against it.
Well, they made a play onto Pirean in the bot side of the map, which forced him to then walk away. And in that situation, SK kind of just conceded a lot of pressure. And in that little window, Rogue found themselves an opportunity to take away the dragon, which even though it doesn't go over to Urgot, so what I was saying there isn't going to apply, you still deny all those benefits from SK.
I mean, you like, an Akali works well with it, and Ashe can work well, yeah.
And if this game goes really late as well, we've got 2 dragons already on Rogue. You know, if Elder Dragons start coming into it, don't forget you're kind of ensuring your late game win conditions as well by going for those Elder Dragons with buffed up dragon buffs.
Okay, so let's have a look exactly about where these two teams are then, Foxdrop. Right, you've got Black Cleaver and Protobelt finished onto the side of SK alongside that Blade of the Ruin King. That's matched by Blade of the Ruin King on Heaq. No Hextech Gunblade yet on Sencux. Black Cleaver on the top lane. So it feels, even though SK have been the team to make forays and to make a few plays, it still feels very even.
Yeah, this game is even Stevens basically right now. Like there's not really much else for me to add on to that one. You just said it yourself. It's just how it is. No, you just bang on the money there, my friend. Maybe you should transition to color casting.
Right, if VODS stays sick.
Yeah, if Plagueis stays the way he is.
we already proved that I'm not going to be able to fix him in game 1. So I have unique methods of medical practice. Prophet trying to defend this tower down towards the bottom lane. Needs to get rid of some of the minion waves because SK are just focusing it down the turret. They will get it. That's their 3rd of the game. About 2,000 gold ahead, but Heaq and Wadid doing something in mid lane. Getting a bit of chip damage down here as well. Actually, it's the flank position from Sencux. Crownshot needs to be careful.
And
might be out of position
Kikis.
without realizing it.
Kikis is coming through here.
They're waiting for the wave. I think Kikis was spotted on a ward because there's a control ward actually just behind him in the jungle. You can see there. Good control ward from SK to spot out exactly where Kikis is.
And this is why they were playing around the bot side of the map and how they're able to secure that the first tower on the bot side for SK, is because they had that vision deep in the jungle. And it's like, if you're playing versus Nocturne, you know he's going to come from creative locations and is not just going to be walking up to your lane. So you have to have this deep vision down, else you are at a massive risk about getting collapsed on by paranoia. So got to get that vision down. Works in this situation. And SK are able to hold on to their 2k gold.
Yeah. I do love the fact that we highlighted how important the junglers would be for these two teams, how important the early game was, and then neither of them really did a huge amount.
Absolutely nothing happening.
We cast a curse at them entirely, but they still have the opportunity to impact the map.
I mean, they might still pop off, but what surprised me about Selfmade specifically when he was playing that Xin Zhao game recently is Xin Zhao, that early game champion, we were like 30 minutes into the game and had the highest damage on his team. Like this guy, even if he's playing like a champion that is very good at a certain point, won't stop being good after he's like gone past that point. And to be fair, Gragas as well is like, you don't. I mean, if they wanted to pick someone that is just good and early, they would have picked someone like the Xin Zhao. But they've gone for the Gragas because he's going to have a bit more of an engaged power, be a bit more tanky as the game goes on as well. And we'll see whether or not Crownshot can step up here as well, because he's really, he is SK's best primary damage threat.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. He's going to be putting a lot of damage down on the solution. I do just want to pop back towards those gold numbers that we had a look at just a second ago, because although it may not seem it, there's actually a huge discrepancy in the top lane. About 1,000 gold difference between the two laners, all because of those turret plates. Obviously the kill helping as well, but those turret plates doing a lot of work. And then 1,000 gold in the mid lane as well. Obviously partly due to the CS. Good stun lock up onto Wadid. Crownshot gets the kill. I shouldn't have been looking at the bottom of the screen. I should have been looking at the top of the screen there. That was good stuff from SK.
Perhaps Wadid was doing the same thing as you.
Yep. Oh, arrow straight onto Lissandra though, trying to get away.
She's going to be hard to kill.
Frozen Tomb comes down, still has the flash, flashes into the glacial path. Prophet lands the knockup. Sencux jumps across the wall and now Rogue going in for the fight. Won't end a knockback. Death from below onto Sencux. He uses the perfect execution to get away. The ignite is ticking. It's enough. Crownshot gets it. 2-for-1 trade now for SK as they push down towards this mid lane tower.
They're going to get that mid lane tower. They may even look for a little bit more here as well. Might increase this gold lead substantially with this push.
Great pick onto Wadid to start it all off. SK still pushing in. Got a cannon wave here as well. Heaq looking for the defense. Doesn't have the arrow, but Wadid has the ult with Selfmade pulled in. The hook lands only onto a minion. Wadid got caught up with the Pirean death, but it's not quite enough damage. Profit flashing forward, Selfmade down. Werlyb now needs to be careful as well because he's knocked up, and Heaq can chase. Has a lot of damage coming out from that Rangers focus on the Ashe, and that's a second kill, a double on the Profit. Good reaction from Rogue to stop SK in their tracks.
Well, SK biting off a little bit more than they could chew right there. It started off pretty well, getting a kill onto Crownshot, getting that tower. Ooh, but just overstaying a tad. Rogue, nice reaction right there, and that's exactly it. You want to punish the enemy teams for their mistakes if you want to not have a game slip away from you. You can't let these windows open and close without you punishing the enemy team for it. And it all started right here where Wadid was just a little bit too far forward. Like, he doesn't have the vision in the situation, and SK, especially with that Pyke pick just by himself, huge pick potential. And you know, trying to go in onto a Lissandra who has stopwatch, aftershock, ultimate, plus the E, is very difficult to do. And in doing so, Rogue kind of just overexerted here, and SK were able to punish. I really like the flash forward from Crownshot there as well, just to finish off, get those double taps on the Sencux to let him burn down with the ignite. But that's really where it ends for SK as far as positivity goes. Eyes just too big for their stomach here.
Probably weren't expecting the teleport coming in from Profit as well on towards that tower. They just turn it around. Werlyb gets caught out, and this is one of the powers of Ashe is if you start running away from her, you never get away from her. She just follows you for days with that slow. We did see an Inferno Drake go across towards SK during those replays, so with their 2,500 gold lead, they do have a Dragon as well. 2 kills on Crownshot. He's got the Black Cleaver finished up, and he's in a very strong position. But Profit actually stepping up to the plate this game as well. 3-0-0 on the Aatrox. We wondered how much of a contested pick it would be, considering we'd seen it fall through so many drafts, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, that last play specifically really did just boost up Profit in his gold, and now he's going to be much more on par with Werlyb on that Urgot. It's one of those matchups where Aatrox builds pretty much full damage, and Urgot goes 1 damage item and then goes full tank. So as far as the game goes on, it all... Oh, good reaction there. Ashe almost catching Crownshot.
Oh, you can't dodge that though. Wadid hits it. The paranoia comes out as well. Immediately Crownshot is dead. Kikis goes golden to stop death from below, hitting him. Flashes away. Now Pirean's on the wrong side of this. Doesn't have the flash, has the claw though. Pulled back with the play. Profit pops the world ender for the movement speed. Sencux here on the flank as well. Pirean uses the Frozen 2 and Fear, but beyond death hits onto Profit. That's not the target. Selfmade gets one. Profit has to jump the wall as well. Werlyb still looking for the chase here. Heaq needs to get away from that Urgot. And really... very, very close fight between the two teams in the jungle.
AP Gragas, when you get that belly bop, you do so much damage. You found 3 people with that, I believe. That was absolutely... oh, man. That salvaged that play for SK right there. But it all starts with Crownshot putting on his blue suede shoes, and he gets the first one and then trips over himself in the second one. A really good catch out here by Rogue. It's really what their team comp is good at doing. We mentioned that. The Ashe ulti, the Thresh, the Nocturne. It's really hard to get away from these guys if they find you out of position. And it looks like at this point, Rogue just chasing SK down, and SK again, just too far forward. But look at this right here. Oh! Mate, that is beautiful. I love to see it. You love to see it. I mean, that is just the... I love it. I love the belly bop. It's my favorite thing. It's the animations where he literally just like slides forward, belly first, as you do, and then just whips up his cart and dunks it on top of you. And if you're AP Gragas like that, you got the spell pin boots going down as well. Oh man, it's so satisfying. Maybe I'm just projecting, but I like
that's the jungle main talking.
Yeah, well,
I've been on the receiving end of that too many times.
That's true.
But yeah, it's good stuff from Selfmade as well, having the awareness to position in the Baron pit as well to get that jump across. So good, well played overall from both teams. Still about 2,500 gold lead between them. And interesting to see the Runans on Heaq. He's starting to build up towards that sort of later game Ashe. Another good hook from Wadid. Into the arrow, takes the lantern. Dreams caught out, goes golden, but isn't long for the world, you have to feel. He's taken out. Tower falls as well. Werlyb looking for the chase here with the righteous glory. Pirean still has a flanking position. Kikis caught out a little bit. Great hook again from Wadid, catching Pirean as soon as he came out of the glacial path. And now Heaq needs to open up from the side. Wadid chased up by Werlyb. Takes the lantern Profit in there as well, but he's gone into the world end of Sencux. He needs to do something in this fight. He has to turn it around for his team. Heaq getting damage off where he can, but Sencux just dodging around, can't find the avenue to attack.
Sencux needs to get into this one if he wants to salvage it, but he's not able to do so. This is the difficulty right here. Rogue do find the pick, it's what they want to do, but it actually turns around against them, and this time SK is finally going to be able to break that tower. Nothing bad is going to happen to him.
Minute and a half on the, or minute and 10 on the Infernal as well if they want to get their second of the game. As much as Rogue got the first 2 dragons, they did a good job of that. Getting an Infernal and another Infernal feels like a lot more power for your punch.
Especially as this game goes on. And let's see how this one starts, because again, this is Rogue in the driving seat, utilizing their team composition. It's literally all three of their pick tools just to kill the Pyke right there, which is great. But where are you now? What position are you in right now? Because Sencux is split pushing in this top side, but again, he doesn't have teleport. So you know, if you go for these aggressive plays, you have to get in and get out really quick, because you're not going to have the backup of your solo laner when he's sitting top lane with that cleanse as his summon spell. So he's not able to join the fight. You get collapsed on, and you actually go from getting that kill, making the play, it's coming out on the back foot.
Prophet caught out a little bit here by Selfmade and Werlyb. The Bellybot comes in from the side, and Werlyb on the chase with the righteous glory flashes. Gets away. Fury of Death doesn't hit either. Want to give a tiny bit of credit to Wadid for that hook on Dreams. It was semi-blind. They'd seen him go into the bush, but then they didn't see his pathing after it because of this control ward that they've now replaced. So have to give Wadid just a modicum of credit. He hits another hook into the arrow. Wadid on point. This is the Wadid we saw at Worlds last year, landing hook after hook, 2 kills to Sencux, and Rogue are fighting back against SK. They're on the chase. Prophet going in onto Werlyb, brings him back with the Infernal Chains, drags him back. They don't want to go any further. They've got the Baron in their sights.
And the big difference this time round was that Rogue had Sencux around and SK weren't able to collapse and punish. So Rogue really executing their team comp extremely well, finding hook after hook after hook. Huge credit to Wadid. When you find those hooks, you follow through with the Ashe ulti, the press R, the Nocturne ulti as well. Man, you have to be so disciplined as SK to not just get constantly caught out here.
Infernal Dragon in the sights of Rogue, but SK trying to force them back away from it. Who's back up? Urgot, Crownshot and Dreams on their way towards the Infernal.
They're recalling on a ward
on a ward. Sencux on it. Hasn't got the teleport, of course, and SK. They'll just go straight for the Infernal Dragon. This is Rogue just not getting their back timers correct, and standing on that ward mean that SK will get their second Infernal Dragon of the game. So even though Rogue won the fight, they didn't really get much off it.
Yeah, and that is 2 dragons to 2 dragons. But at this stage of the game, as the game goes on, that percentage damage increase from Infernal is way better in the late game. So again, this all starts from Wadid doing Wadid things once more, getting the hook, finding the pick, followed up by the rest of the engage from Rogue in the Ashe ult and the Nocturne ulti. And from this point on, it's really just the same deal where SK just have to run away from this one. And because they are a 5-man unit here, Prophet was the one split pushing, not Sencux, and Sencux was with the team. Prophet's unable to join, SK are unable to re-engage, and they find themselves 2 clean kills.
SK teleporting in there. Werlyb joined the fight. Prophet on his way up with the U moves. Arrow. Oh, sliver. Hair's breadth away from connecting. Prophet's going to go back down towards the bottom lane. Doesn't have the teleport. Werlyb is still in that mid lane. Coming in. Pirean trying to flank the fight here. Kikis pops the paranoia, but he's already done for. Heaq needs to get out of this one. Does he have the lantern? Plans you straight away from Heaq.
Good sash, good sash.
Oh, this is dangerous. This is dangerous for Rogue.
The pickers became the pickies right there in that scenario. Rogue losing Kikis. They weren't able to get that dragon when they got 2 kills. Yep. And SK now got 1 kill, and they're deciding straight away, you know what, we fancy this Baron. They're going for it. Will Rogue answer? There is no smite.
Selfmade in the pit, 9,000 HP on the Baron. Rogue, they're so close to their first win, they can almost taste it, but they need to do something about this fight. Sencux has the ultimate, can jump in. Prophet pops the ultimate of his own. Werlyb there with the Gargoyle Stoneplate. Great knockup from Prophet, though. He landed on the back line, and Heaq still at full HP, so Sencux, they jump in. Werlyb down to about 3rd HP. Prophet gets out with the lantern. They have stopped the Baron. That's all they wanted. Rogue will back away.
Prophet was doing so much damage in that team fight. With the World's Ender, meaning he can't die either, just getting those 3 Qs off on like 3 or 4 people. Oh my goodness, he basically single-handedly stopped SK from doing that Baron there. And again, Rogue, we're a 0-7 team right now. What do we want to do? What's better than 0-7?
0-8?
1.
Oh, 1 and 7.
How are you a... whatever. Yes, that is slightly better. Thank you, man. We got there eventually. This is how it all starts off with Heaq firing out his ultimate. He's had a pretty high kind of hit rate with that ulti, but it's usually after a deed hook. This time around, he just completely misses it, and instead, the SK turn and burn, they're the ones with the TP advantage here. They're the ones able to make that proactive play. And we saw, you know, Prophet in that bot side you mentioned doesn't have the TP, he can't join, and as such, can't really do anything there.
Looks like Prophet burned his teleport as well in the meantime, so Have to see if Rogue are able to use that. The fact they have all 5 players up towards the top side of the map to enact something. Still only 2,000 gold between the 2 teams. Do want to highlight Prophet as a standout player for Rogue this game. He's absolutely been exceptional. On the other side, Crownshot's still looking good. You know, he's 3 items on the Lucian. We said he needed to be the main damage dealer for SK as we developed into the game. And now the question is, the Baron dance begins. Who has put on their dancing shoes for the day?
I really want to see what Sencux can do as we move forward into this game as well. Ooh. Click that. Okay, good stuff. I was a bit nervous there.
So was I.
He has no flash. If something happened, he's in a bit of a pickle. But, you know, Sencux hasn't really been able to get into these team fights. Admittedly, it is hard for him to do so. I think the lane assignment is smart, sticking Sencux top side and Prophet bot side, because Prophet with that teleport can join the Baron play. Obviously, right now it's on cooldown, so he has to be careful. But in theory, you know, if you get Sencux closer to the action, then he has less distance to travel, which is great when you don't have the teleport and you actually have to use your little leggies to get there.
Oh, fight's gonna start. Selfmade gets in behind and knocks Heaq in. Can't get to the lantern, can't click it in time. Good catch from SK. They'll turn their eyes back towards the Baron. Once again, you have to feel as they are in a 4v5 situation.
At least this time, though, Rogue still has their smite. So if oh goodness.
Oh, Kikis face checks down into the J. The lantern goes down. There's the box as well, but Wadid caught out. Kikis trying to get away from it, but the fear beyond death and the double kill comes out. SK finally finding the picks they wanted to start up this Baron.
That you can't face check that one as the jungler especially. Maybe send someone else to face check first, but if you die, you can't contest this Baron. You are the smite. Also, Nocturne has blue smite, which has just come off cooldown here. If there were maybe blue trinket, sorry. If they were maybe a little bit more patient, they could have actually maybe done something. You know, it just like getting the Baron for SK right here as well puts a huge spanner in the works of Rogue, because it's really hard now to utilize this pick comp that Rogue have, because SK is just going to be grouping up with that Baron. So let's see how it all started here. Selfmade man again, the guy we've been highlighting pretty much every single time SK take to the Rift, finds the window, finds the catch onto Heaq, isn't able to click that lantern, and this is just where it's a little bit, it's just sad. Like you can't face check. I mean you can, but that's what happens.
Especially when you have the tools to check it from long range as well. You feel that's just a little bit disappointed in that play if you are Kikis. Baron now sitting on the side of SK, a 4,000 gold lead for them as well. Of course, a win here would take them to 3 and 5, all by themselves, in the 7th spot in the league as we almost come up towards the halfway mark. They'll only have 1 more game to play before they have played everyone in the league at least once.
And that is a 3rd dragon.
It is.
SK. Which, as we said right at the beginning of the game, if Rogue were looking to get that late game insurance with the win condition of Elder Dragon, that's completely gone now. Because now
you still get 2 Dragon Elder Dragon.
Yeah, you do, but it's like SK are now also going to be gunning for that Elder Dragon too. And it's like, again, what I mentioned before about the pick comp of Rogue, pick comps work by finding people out of position, grabbing them, getting the kill, getting out of there.
Here we go. Arrow lands. Oh, onto Crownshot, but can they get there? Prophet's going to dive in. Kikis has separated the fight. You can see up towards the top side. Pirean is there. Prophet's still on that back line. GA comes out onto Crownshot. They want to take him out. Explosive Guards will knock him back. Don't quite have the damage, but the hook lands now. Onto Selfmade. Crownshot's down. The shot down. Crownshot actually taking out Prophet. He's down. Selfmade's still alive, but look at the damage coming out from Pirean. SK just wipe away Rogue. And although Rogue thought they'd found the fight, the triple kill comes out from Pirean.
You can't play a pick comp when the enemy team is grouped up because they've got that Baron, and SK were looking to use the Baron buff to siege in onto the Rogue base. What do they find? The base, the team fight, and the W.
Once again, some signs of life for Rogue, but SK quell them around the Baron pit, find the picks they need, find the kills they need, they break open the base, and 33 minutes in, they will take the victory over Rogue.
Wasn't the cleanest game from SK, but a W is a W. And for Rogue, man, now sitting at 0 and 8, it's suboptimal scoreline. But honestly, I really do want to be an optimist here and say that for large portions of that game, and we can say this for some of their previous games as well, Rogue did not look down and out right from the get-go. This does not look like a team that is just absolutely terrible and they're going to lose every single game in the split. And they had a team comp, they executed it pretty well, just a few kind of blunders as the game went on there, and they were punished.
that they were like, you have to give credit to SK. They were able to close it out.
Absolutely.
After Rogue made some very good picks in the mid game with the Ashe Arrow Thresh Hook combination, and SK just played around their win conditions. You know, they scaled up, had a pretty strong Lucian. They had the Urgot, who was just a beefy frontline tank. It's always very difficult to deal with, and in the end, SK just came out on top.
Yeah, and Selfmade man right there you see on your screen going through the handshake line again. Really, really well played there. The two junglers giving themselves a hug, the two Polish junglers. Selfmade wasn't able to do it necessarily in that early game. Wasn't able to find the plays with the ganks like he so often does. But when it mattered, he found the pick.
Yeah.
He jumped over the wall.
And those casks were...
Yeah, he had another solid game.
He did. Rogue on the other side will be a little bit disappointed after what looked to be probably their strongest early mid-game we've seen so far. And especially like last week after losing to Vitality, they'll probably be a bit demoralized because that was a close game.
Yeah.
Then they lose today to SK after a close game. And you feel at some point that your luck has to change. You have to start winning these kind of 60-40 games, but it just doesn't seem to be the case for them yet.
And they are, you know, 0-8.